This video is not going to sit right with some, and let me just tell you, and hopefully you can trust me, that it is not my intention to be controversial or be some kind of an instigator or somebody that just winds people up for no reason whatsoever. What I want to do is to take a very honest and accurate approach to events that have shaped our lives. In this particular case, I'm going to talk about the blowback and why the attacks on September 11th happened, based on the information that I've come across. In his book, The Great War of, is it of Civilization or For Civilization by Robert Fisk, he claims to have two interviews with Osama bin Laden. Okay. In the first one, both of these their first interview was done in Afghanistan, and I want to say the second interview was done somewhere in Sudan or in Africa. You'll have to look at the book to see for sure. And in the case of the first interview, the person that he met, Osama bin Laden, was kind of a when I say that bin Laden was an interesting person, I don't mean it in a complimentary way, okay? I mean it in a standpoint of understanding a different culture, a culture that has a different viewpoint on spirituality than we do, and a culture that has very different values than we do. Um, but he was an interesting person. The second, the second interview, which was conducted shortly before the attacks in 2001, found a Osama bin Laden who was convinced that American resolve was weak, was convinced that America was a paper tiger that could just roll over. Now, what is it that gives an asymmetrical force this idea? Well, based on that interview, it had to do with the Battle of Mogadishu, when we had American forces in Mogadishu. Read the events of Black Hawk Down. Allegedly, there were Arab Muslims in the area fighting as well and observing and seeing American reactions to certain oppositions, and that we pulled those forces out without any sort of set goal left the impression that American resolve was weak, illogical, and pointless. Now, hear me out before you get wound up. I'd be hard pressed to really find what an American interest we had in that area. Um, if you say humanitarian, if it was a humanitarian interest and we didn't think that the warlord Adid was good to people and people were starving, and it was a United Nations peacekeeping operation during a civil war, then I would say, judging by the blowback and what happened to our country, and then consequently what we've done in Iraq and Afghanistan, if you truly measure the blowback of those events, then honestly, we can no longer claim a humanitarian mission, now can we? Not with hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of lives lost at this point. So there you have it. That is blowback in an interesting point, and I wanted to bring that aspect of it up because a lot of times some may see blowback as being, well, you sell arms and weaponry to a certain country or a certain group's enemy, therefore they attack you for selling those things. Well, blowback also has other consequences. You know, when a country doesn't follow through on its promises, or if the country takes part in illogical endeavors that make no damn sense, only to not have the resolve to stay in there, and all they got to do is get their nose a little bloodied and they pull out, then it gives people the impression that they can put it over on you. Anyway, just some food for thought, and thank you for your consideration on this matter, and we'll see y'all soon.